So I'm going to walk through this with you as if I were taking my own quiz. And again, feel free, you don't have to raise your hand, just interrupt me if I say something. And I say this, such a teacher thing to say. If you have a question, there's probably someone else that does too. So make sure you ask, okay? So question one goes in the pretty basic category just because there's no number in front of the n squared. So right away, we're going to jump in and build our shells. And we know we need an n and an n. What are my signs going to be? I'll ask you guys some questions. One of each, 100%. And we know that because the 10 in back tells us if the 10 is negative, that's all I need to know. And then I'm just simply going to scour the factors of 10, right? So you could try 2 and 5. But the more you practice, the more you probably don't guess as much. Like you know it's going to be a 10 and a 1. The question becomes, where do we put them? And I want the 10 with the plus and the 1 with the minus so that when I do the middle two and outer two checking, the heavier I want to be the positive. So, and I'll get the question a lot. I get it all the time. Can you check this and see if I'm doing it right? And the answer is, of course I will. I mean, not tomorrow because it's a quiz, but remember, you can always check your own paper. You can literally grade this test before you turn it in. Not assuring yourself of 100%, but assuring yourself that you'll know if you did something wrong at least. So like, remember, you can check these 10n, check these minus 1n, and make sure that they add up to this. And that'll work with quadratics across the board. All right. Second one is a difference of two squares. That would be something I personally would put on my notes. So I would just factor it using shells. And the thing about a difference of squares is that it's got to follow a certain pattern. The first thing is that it has to have one plus and one minus, and then the square root of 36 is 6. So you want to always put the same number in those so that they cancel out. That's the whole idea. Because you'll recall that in the middle of x squared minus 36, there's actually a plus 0x. And so we're making that happen by using opposites like this, right? All right. Third problem is definitely going to be in the harder category. So there'll be two problems like this on the test, and you can see right away back to back they are problems 3 and 4. It'll be randomized tomorrow when I make these quizzes. I don't know what order the computer will put them in for me when I write them, so who knows? Um, so I'm gonna try two different sets. I'm gonna try maybe it's a 5n and a 2n, or maybe it's a 10n and a regular 1n. I know the signs are plus plus, and I feel I need to go big, right? The 49 is telling me I need to go big. So I want to put something of substance. I feel like putting the 9 um, across from the 5 is a smart play, right? I mean, you could try 18 times 1 or 3 times 6, but my spidey sense is telling me if I put a 9 across from the 5, I can buff that number up, and 9 and 5 make 45. So, I mean, I'm not where I want to be. I want to be at 49, but 9 times 2 makes 18, and oh, how convenient that 2 and 2 make 4, and then 45 plus 4 makes 49. So if you haven't figured this out yet, you will soon. And I told you the same thing in Algebra 1. Factoring starts as a guessing game and it becomes more of a science. The more you practice, the more you just develop a sense as to where things should go. Any questions on that? Okay, remember that order is irrelevant. So like if you on that one had like 2n plus 9 first and 5n plus 2 second, that's okay, as long as the factors themselves don't change. The order of them can, of course, change. That's irrelevant. Okay, next one is also a challenging problem in that I've got multiple templates. And so it could be the 9K and the 1K, or it could be the 3K, 3K. So I feel no, I think I'm going to put a 7 here and a 3 here. And by doing that, I've created two numbers that I really like. I like a 27 and a 7 because 27 and 7 make 20. when one of them is negative, which one of them has to be, right? So you'll notice I didn't put my signs in first. Some of you may not do that too. In a case like this, maybe just leave them blank and put them in where you want. But we want the beefier product to be negative so that it wins the battle at the end. So I'm going to put the minus on the 27 right here. And then I'm going to put the plus on the 7 so that when I add them at the end, the minus 27 overpowers the plus 7. And I'm left with minus 20. Any questions so far? Are we perfect? 4 for 4? Okay. Question 5 is pretty ho-hum. There will be, I believe, 2 of these on the test. Wherever they are, again, I have no idea. But what makes this problem special is that when you factor it into your shells like this, they both come out to be the same, which kind of gives this its own little flavor. Please do not leave your answer written like this. We always want to use exponents when it's an option. And so we don't want to leave our answer as something times itself. We want to write it as p minus 10 squared. Okay. So when we solve quadratic equations by completing the square, you'll see the reason for that. All right, halfway point. Still good? Okay. 6 is another, I think, a softball. It's just going to be a B and a B, and the signs predictably are minus and minus. And then the number, by the way, 80 has a ton of factors. I don't know if you knew that or not, but 80 has a lot of factors. The ones that should probably jump out at you pretty quick are 8 and 10. And the reason why you're so attracted to 8 and 10 is because them both being negatives, you want this and this, the 2 red things, to add up to make 18, or negative 18 in this case, which we got. So that's that. Still good? All right. Number 7. This is just one of those classic medium levels. Because the 7 in front is a prime, then I know that it has to look like this. And again, you can put the plus and minus in right now, or once you achieve a little bit of a higher level of understanding, you can leave it out there kind of in limbo and put the plus minus in the order that you know that they should go in. So clearly you don't want to do something crazy like put a 9 here, right? Why? Why would that be really crazy?
7 times 9 is 63.
Yeah, 7 times 9 is 63. And then you blow your 12 out of the water. So like we probably don't want to go there. So I feel like the 9's probably going to go here and the 3's going to go here. And who knows, maybe it'll come down to 27 times 1. But usually you're going to find your answers with the closer pairs. And there's that dynamic that I was looking for. These ones in the middle make 9. These ones on the outside make 21. And 9 and 21 make 12. Right? If one of them's negative, that's a fact. And so I want to make sure I give the balance to the positive. So I want the beefier, the 21 to be positive and the 9 to be the weaker negative so that they add correctly. 8 is another difference of 2 squares. Please try to recall that these are not trial and error problems. Once you recognize the difference of 2 squares, it's formulaic. And the thinking should go like this. What's the square root of the first term? 7v. So you put that here and here. And then what's the square root of the second term? So you put that here and here. The kicker is you have to remember that to make the magic happen, one of them has to be a positive and one of them has to be a negative. That's what makes the middle term cancel out. I have seen people, not usually at the algebra 2 level, try to write this as like 7v plus 4 squared. That makes me want to consider another career choice. That's a complete and utter lack of understanding what's going on. You cannot use exponents for this because, of course, they're not the same. So that is what you get. Final answer. Okay. Number 9 doesn't look. I'm going to show you this, and some of you are going to absorb this, and some of you might not. But this is a trick you can use to tell that you have one of these. I'm circling that as a lot of times to be obnoxious. You see the one I'm talking about? There's a test to see if something is a square trinomial, and it goes like this. And I'll walk you through this again if you'd like. Here it goes. It just reeks. It looks weird. This problem is like, there's something going on with you. So here's a test you can use to save yourself time. What is the square root of the first term? 6b. What is the square root of the second term? So here's the test. If you can square root the front and the back, that's not worth anything. But multiply the red and the purple things together, what do you get? 6v, double what you just said. What's double of 6v? If that's what you see in the middle of the problem, whew, jackpot, then that means you can jump right into knowing that the answer is 6v plus 1 squared. Prior to 30 seconds ago, that's not the method I would have expected any of you to use. But going forward, if you see something and it just looks like it's going to be a square trinomial, give it that test. Test the front back times double thing and see if it works. Let me show you another example of that before I get to the last problem. Here's an example. If I gave you like 49x squared and plus 25, and I've left space in the middle because I don't know what I want there yet. But it reeks. Like as math people, we would look at this and say, there's something going on here. What's the square root of that? 7x. The fact that it's square rootable isn't in and of itself massively significant, but it's a step towards perhaps significance. And then what's the square root of that? 5. So if you're taking this test tomorrow and you see, well, let me ask you this. If you were writing the test, what number, what term would have to go right here in the middle? If you wanted it to be a square trinomial for your students. Take the two red things. Thank you. Did you say that? Good job. Take the two red things and multiply them together. What do you get? 35x. Double that, what do you get? So if you saw a plus 70x or a minus 70x in the middle, then you know that you're working with a square trinomial, a shortcut guy, in which case you don't have to sit here and mess around with templates and guessing and putting things in. You can just jump right to it and say, oh, I got you. The answer is 7x plus 5 squared. Done. So watch out for those. They have a little bit of a kind of a giveaway tell that you can watch for. And if the sign in the middle, the one you can see where I'm moving my pen, if I erase that plus and if we're to make it a minus, then all that would change is the sign in the middle would be a minus. Any questions about that? If that confused you, it's okay. It doesn't have to be something that you understand at this point in time. You could just old school trial and error it with your templates and you'll still get there. No harm. Last one is a pretty medium level problem. So we're going to build our shells. We know that they're going to have a 5x and a 1x. We know that the signs are going to be a minus and a minus. And 54, it has a lot of factors, right? Lots. If you look on your sheet, it's got a lot. Did you guys find them?
9.
Yeah, and I want to power play the 9. A smart factor knows their goal, and in the back of their mind, they're thinking 51's big. And to get close to 51, pairing the 9 with the 5 buffs them up to 45. And 45 is like, okay, I'm not there, but there's hope. And then you just say, well, what goes with 9 to make 54? 9 times 6. And then you check your factors or your inner outer things, and you get a negative 6x and a negative 45x for a grand total of negative 51x. Jackpot. Do you have any questions? This should be a great first quiz to start the year. I'm not done with you yet. I don't want you like visiting and all that. What we're going to do for the last 8-9 minutes is you're all going to work on your page of notes. Listen, if you throughout the year elect not to make a page of notes, I'm not going to be sarcastic. I'm not going to make condescending comments towards you. I am just going to robotically eliminate you from the pool of people that are allowed to take a retake. Okay. My take is that you should make a page of notes for every quiz. You never know when a retake need is going to come up and bite you in the butt. Everyone goes into a quiz thinking like, I think I'm okay. Don't roll the dice. So use your last 8 or 9 minutes, make yourself a nice page of notes. Your page of notes can have sample problems. It can have reminders to yourself. A lot of times people put things like, remember to look at this sign first and then do this and this. Do you have any questions? All right. Cool. So remember, I'm going to say this on the recording, quiz tomorrow, and we will also move on tomorrow. As you see, this is not a full period quiz. So yes, we will take a quiz, but then we will also start our notes on factoring sums and differences of cubes. Okay.